Hey guys, welcome to Scoplicity Facebook Live. We today are going to be talking about, is your marketing broken? And oh yeah, how to fix it, right? So first, let's talk about what it means, right? Like, is your marketing broken? Like, what do we mean by is your marketing broken, right? What I mean is, are you getting consistent, predictable results from your marketing? Have you lost track of like how much it costs to launch your marketing and how much it costs to actually run your marketing? Are you, are you really sure? Are you not sure if you're actually making your money back on your marketing? And finally, if challenged, could you explain your marketing plan to a fifth grader? Okay, these are things that, like, if you said no to any of those, right, like those are things to know that your marketing might be broken, or your marketing plan at least might be broken. And so often, the biggest problem with our marketing is actually the plan itself. And when I, when I'm looking at all the people that I work with on marketing, all the things that I do, I could say that using the 80-20 rule, 80% of the time, the problem with a marketing plan is one or two of these things, right? Usually both, but here they are. The first thing is, the plan is not focused enough, right? And the second one is that the plan is not simple enough. So here are a few questions that here are a few questions that you can ask to figure out if your plan is actually focused or not. Is your plan focused enough to work? So again, going back to the original question, right? Like, is my marketing broken and how to fix it? If you can't answer those first questions, then your marketing is probably broken. And the way to fix it is to make it focused and simple. So here are some questions to go through to see, is your marketing focused enough? Okay. So number one, do you have a clear product that you're selling, right? Do you have, are you selling 20 different products? If people mention your name, or you mention your name to people, like your business name, do they associate it with one product or 5 products or a suite of products, right? Is there one clear product, right? And we're not talking about branding, right? I'm not talking about your overall business branding, right? But certain marketing campaigns, right? So if you've got a marketing campaign that somebody's going through, and we pulled that person out and we said, hey, what product does this company sell? Right? Like, are they going to give us one product? Like, this is the product that they sell and what it does for me and why it's so awesome? Or are they going to be like, oh yeah, they sell this and I think they do that and they do these other 3 things too, right? So your marketing plan, right, should have one clear and distinct product that you are driving your customers to. All right. The second thing, right? Do you have clearly defined target market? Right? So if we go to the people in your marketing campaign, in your marketing funnel, right? Everybody likes to use that word. As you can tell, I can't stand the word funnel, but that's all right. So, do you have a clearly defined target market, right? And is that target market defined by what those people want and need, right? Based on your product. Okay, so that you can communicate to them in the same way, in a very powerful way, right? I've got another video planned in a couple of weeks. So spoiler alert, I'll be doing these once a week. I've got another one planned in a couple of weeks that actually goes through target market and what it means to have a focused target market, and if your focus is too focused or if it's too wide, and how to tell. Third question. Do you have a clearly defined traffic source to find the people in your target market, right? Or are you shotgunning all over the place, right? Are you going networking over here, and then we're doing Facebook, and then we're doing LinkedIn, and then we're doing Google AdWords, and you've got 20 different ways that you're trying to get people to come to your thing, right? You're doing live events and whatever, right? Do you have a clearly defined traffic source to get people to your or clearly defined traffic source for the people in your target market? And then fourth, Do you have a clearly defined conversion method for getting people from the traffic source, right? Brand new leads, strangers to you in the traffic source, to becoming customers. Okay. So that's the next thing to know is like, what is the conversion method and is it clearly defined? Again, that is how you know if your marketing is focused enough. And like I said, if we're using the 80-20 rule, right, like generally 80% of the reason that people's marketing is broke is because it's not focused enough, okay? So now let's go to the second side of that equation, which is that it's not simple enough, okay? Again, I've got another video that we're going to be doing here in a little bit, probably next week, about why having a simple plan creates more return on your investment than having a complicated plan, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about a simple plan, right? Simple enough that a fifth grader, like if you explain it to a fifth grader, like they would understand it, all right? So could you describe your plan in these simple terms, right? Where do your leads come from? All right, this like, so if you were talking to a fifth grader, you could say like, this is where my leads come from. This is what I offer them. This is how they get it. This is what we do when they actually take the offer. This is what we do if they don't take the offer. And then here are what the next steps are after they take the offer, right? Like, is your marketing plan that simple, right? Could you basically take that bit of your marketing plan and hand that to somebody else in your company or not in your company or anywhere so that they could understand exactly like what's happening and they could find anybody at any point, any customer or any prospect at any point in that process and like know what's going to happen next and know what should happen next so that if they happen to call or talk to them or whatever, like it would be that easy. So that is another way to know, right? Like if you can't answer those questions very simply, right, and it's not documented anywhere, then chances are that your marketing plan is not that simple. You know, and I can tell I've seen plenty of examples where, you know, people have this simple idea in their head of what they want to do for marketing, and as I talk to them, right, they're making a ton of assumptions about what's simple and what's not and how things work and how they don't work, you know, or they forget things like the thank you page of an order form or the thank you page of a landing page, right? Where it's like, all right, well, they're going to fill out the landing page and then we're going to send them this email and do all that stuff. It's like, all right, great. Well, what are we going to put on a thank you page, right? And they're just things that either they forgot or other things that they want to do that they just assume there's a way to do it, right? Where like, you know, this thing happens and then I want this person who we outsource on the other side of the planet, you know, to do this thing, right? And we talk about, okay, great. Well, how do they know what to do and when to do it and all these things? Like, is that automated? Is that not automated? Are we sending snail mail, carrier pigeons, smoke signals, right? Like, how does this work? How are we going to put these things together? And when you're creating a digital marketing plan, right, like every one of those little steps, right, like you have to like program it into the computer because, you know, like the computer is only as smart as like what you tell it to do, right? Whatever the software program is, all the automation that happens in there, like you've got to set it up one way or another, no matter what system or what platform you're using. So, you know, going through and like weeding out all those assumptions is huge. And, you know, obviously a lot of people, you know, we don't know that we've got these assumptions. We just think that we're doing stuff because, you know, like we don't know the assumptions that we're taking, right? We just, because in our mind, they're not really assumptions. It's just like, oh yeah, this is how it goes. But when you sit down and talk to somebody and like try to walk them through it, you start to see some of those assumptions, right? The more you talk or like try to define or document what you're doing, right, the more assumptions you find that are in there. And the more you can weed those out, the simpler your plan becomes. The simpler your plan becomes, the easier it is to launch it and implement it. And again, we'll kind of go into that more through some other videos that we're doing. But anyways, if this is even remotely interesting to you, and you've come across the point in your business where you've got a marketing plan, and you want to implement that marketing plan, right? But you're running into obstacles, right? Because you're like, well, how do I get this marketing plan implemented? Either A, I do it myself, but there are definitely things in there that I'm not good at, right? For me, for example, like it would be like WordPress and graphic design. These are things that I'm not good at. So, how do I, if I'm going to do it myself, how do I get those things done? If I'm not going to do it myself, who am I going to have do it? Am I going to call up an agency, right, and have them do it? And if I do, how much is that going to cost, right? And is there going to be a return on that investment? How will I know? Or maybe you'll go the outsource route altogether, where maybe you go like to Upwork and you kind of piecemeal that together. And, maybe that's going to work out. Maybe it's not. But either way, right, there's risk associated with that. And so these are all things that you kind of have to calculate. And then as you go through that, you start getting to this idea where you're like, man, like digital marketing is too hard. It costs too much. It takes too long. And like, who knows if I'm going to get a return on all this stuff, right? And like digital marketing shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't cost that much. It shouldn't take that long. And you should absolutely get a return on it, right? So with all that being said, I'm going to do a little video editing magic here so that I can personally invite you to have a conversation with me. Like literally, I want you to call me or email me or whatever, so that we can talk about how to bridge that gap, right? How to make digital marketing happen in such a way that it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to do it. You don't have to do everything in order to get it done, and we can get it done really quickly. Right? So that way you can get it out in the world and you can test it and start like tweaking it and dialing it in so that you can get the return on investment that you want to get out of your marketing. Hopefully this was some good stuff for you here, and I'm going to keep getting deeper and deeper into each of these little tiny subjects that I bring up. Like I said, we've got one coming up here real soon on like what a target market is, right? Target market, what, why, and how. And then we're going to kind of go through each of these topics. So again, we try to leave as little up to assumption as possible. All right. I wish you guys all the best to your success, and we'll talk soon.